Hey, hello there. So this is True Brooklyn Stories, but today I'm going to tell you a story that happened in Manhattan, and it happened on a very infamous day, 9/11, September September 11th, 2001. So here's the thing. Okay, this is all about the events that included my employment with a specific company. Okay, so I realized that when you talk about 9/11, of course, we're talking about, the terrible tragedy of the World Trade Centers and the terrorist attack that caused them so many lives, tragically. But as part of that tragedy, there were other people who worked in the area that were tragically affected, that died, and other people who incurred very serious illnesses like cancer, which is not being felt until recently. So what I'm saying is that some people who were there contracted cancer and other respiratory-related illnesses and other blood illnesses within a few years after, but there are many who just now are getting sick from cancer and blood-related illnesses because of 9/11. I myself was diagnosed with some high cancer enzymes. They're called immunoglobulins. They're in the liver, and there's also things in the liver called tumor markers. Oh, hello, good evening. See, these tumor markers are also found in the liver, and they could be associated with things. Not it can be, but they are associated with things in the blood, and that are the tumor markers in the liver can be a sign of a tumor, in the body. I have some nodules, which are small tumors in my lungs. Now, for now, they are not big enough to be cancerous, but they, in cases, have been known to grow. Okay, so what does this have to do with 9/11? Okay, like I said, in 9/11, there were a lot of workers down there outside of the World Trade Center. I was one of them. I was working, for a company called Columbus, like Christopher Columbus, Columbus Messenger Service. They are still around today, and they are on 149 West 24th Street in Manhattan. My job with Columbus Messenger at that time was to deliver a payroll route, a route consisting of payrolls around the entire area, starting from John Street all the way down to Battery Park. My first delivery was supposed to be 11 John Street, exactly when the first plane hit. I was walking towards 11 John Street, plane hit. I seen people running, so I decided to walk away from the area down towards, John Street is a hill, it's a downhill. If you go, John Street runs downhill towards Water Street. So I started walking towards Water Street, figuring it's safer by the water. When I get down there, I looked up and I seen there was a big hole the side of the World Trade Center buildings. It had explosions coming out of it. Very shortly after, it started to burn, flames, and debris started to shoot out of the windows. Talk about papers, wood, you name it, machines. So at that point, being that I was making payroll, now you have to remember, I have two big baskets full of payrolls. This is actual people's checks in the area. My job and my responsibility is to deliver them. So I went to one of the offices and I called my company. Remember this name, Columbus, like Christopher Columbus, Columbus Messenger Service. They're on 149 West 24th Street. They're still around today, but they may have merged with other companies and have a slightly different name. So I called Columbus Messenger and I spoke to their dispatcher. I told him what was going on with the airplane striking the building and the fire and the explosions. And they told me they flat out told me that, listen, you're there to deliver payrolls. Continue delivering those payrolls. If not, you're going to get fired. I told them that my life was in jeopardy. They told me they didn't care, that everybody has their problems. I told them other people were dying there. Again, they responded, they have their own problems. This is the dispatcher talking. I requested the dispatcher to tell the owners of the company. Now, the owners of the company at the time, and it still might be, called Anthony and Vincent. And there was another guy there, too, as a manager, but I forgot his name at the time. They relayed a message to the dispatcher who told me that owners just said that they don't care, that your job is to deliver those payrolls and that you're a big, strong guy and that you can take any debris coming down from the building. You won't, and I'm so strong that it doesn't matter if the building fell down, I won't get hurt. So I got off the phone with the dispatcher from Columbus Messenger Service. And I started to go to companies that were supposed to deliver payrolls to it, asking them, not just to deliver the payroll, but asking them for me to stay in their lobby, to stay safe, and also to store the other payrolls so I don't lose them. This was I was now on Water Street, around the Maiden Lane area. None of the building security would allow me to stay in the lobby or in the building. So I continued towards Wall Street, where some buildings which I deliver payrolls were located. So I went there and I found one building, 120 Wall Street, where the security guard, he agreed to let me store all the payrolls in a storage room and to stay there and stay inside the lobby. And he even allowed me to attempt some deliveries there. This is 120 Wall Street. This is the security guard from 120 Wall Street allowing me to store my payrolls in his storage room. Once inside 120 Wall Street, on the lobby floors, there was an office, and I went in there. I delivered the payroll, and at the same time, I attempted to contact my office again. They let me use their phone. This is the company at 120 Wall Street, one of the companies. I called up Columbus Messenger Service for the third time. Columbus Messenger Service. I told them that the second World Trade Center had been hit by another commercial jetliner and had gone down. I told them there was huge tragedy. Hundreds of people, thousands of people died dead. And there's huge clouds of debris outside. I cannot go outside. They said they don't care. They have their own problems. That I should go out and deliver the payrolls. So of course, I ignored that because there was huge debris. You couldn't even see outside. It was so dark from the debris. So I hung up the phone. I stayed in the office of this nice company that I had just delivered the payrolls, and they let me stay in there till all the debris and all the soot and all the smoke had mostly cleared outside. And they were listening to the radio, and on the radio it announced that the Pentagon had just been struck by an airplane. People started to panic, and for all intents and purposes, people thought we were at war. The United States was at war and under attack. That was the general thought. And some people were planning to trying to leave the country. People were acting very, very... but again, I called. Again, I had to do something with those payrolls. I just couldn't throw them away unless I just wanted to, lose my job. So the security guy at 120 Wall Street let me store all the packages in 120 Wall Street for a few days. Why a few days? Because all the companies were not going to work for a few days. So that meant that I didn't have to deliver, that I didn't have to work for a few days. So I called up Columbus Messenger. And they told me that I had to bring all those payrolls back. They didn't care about the soot. They said that all the debris from the building and all the smoke wouldn't hurt me because I'm a big, strong guy. Mind you, I was still in my 40s then. So I left some of the payroll, being that all the payrolls were so many, I left some of them in the storage room at 120 Wall Street. And a small amount I took back up. But being that Columbus Messenger Service is located on 149 West 24th Street, I had to take a train. But in order to get to the train, I had to walk to Canal Street. Again, there was still some smoke and soot in the air, debris. And like I said, the Columbus Messenger Service said that it wouldn't hurt me because I'm a big, strong guy, that there were no harmful substances in the air. So, I walked to Canal Street. When I got to Canal Street, I was just lucky to get on the train. There were people crying, hysterical. I had not this type of mask, but something like a piece, protective environmental industrial mask on, white. Somebody see me and they started crying. I immediately took it off because I realized that they probably had witnessed somebody die down there who was wearing a mask. So anyway, when I got back to Columbus Messenger Service, they insisted I don't leave until they can account for all the payrolls on my route. I showed them my manifest of what few payrolls I was able to deliver and what few payrolls I had left in 120 Wall Street, along with the remaining that I brought back. Once they accounted for all the payrolls, they told me, due to the company's closing for a few days, I could stay home for a few days till they let me know, contact me. So, I went home. A few days later, the Columbus Messenger Service contacted me saying I have to go back down to the World Trade area, continue work and making deliveries. And when I told them about the debris in the air, said they didn't care. But what worse is that when I got down to the World Trade area again a few days later to make my deliveries that I had remaining on my payroll route, there was so much ash and debris on the streets, every single sidewalk on the road. It was so high, the debris was so high, it reached your freaking knees. People worked in the area were literally trudging through this. You know, you have to consider that this was not just a building. It could have been ashes from human bodies. And here I am walking through all that, through debris. Needless to say this, you know, you're breathing in that, it's toxic. I informed my company, Columbus Messenger, and again they said they don't care, that everyone has their problems and that it won't hurt me because no matter if there's carcinogenic, you know, debris, I'm a big strong guy and it won't hurt me. So, you know, I continued making my deliveries knee-deep in what was debris from the World Trade Center, probably human remains, and what else? Also, smoke in the air. There was National Guard, police everywhere, machine guns. Not everybody could have access to buildings, but since I was delivering payrolls, I could. This went on for several months. That they made me work in that area. Now, I gotta add that years later, there's a program for people who may need medication for cancer. Now, I'm not saying I have cancer, but like I said, there's some cancer enzymes in the liver that's kind of high in my blood test. So I called Columbus Messenger Service, I think like maybe 6 months ago, and I told them that I just needed some kind of letter stating that I used to work for them at the time and that I worked in the area of World Trade Center. And they denied me, saying that, oh, they don't know who I am and they don't keep records going that far back. Now, yes, you know, all companies keep tax records, so and especially when you're dealing with payrolls, he obviously kept a record of the delivery of their payrolls, the dates, their times, and the people who were handling and had possession of those payrolls. So that explanation doesn't hold water. But I spoke to the manager and I relayed the message to the owner, and they said they don't care. They do not keep records of people who work at 9/11. Go bother somebody else. We don't care about 9/11. That is Columbus Messenger Service. And my name is William, and that's my story.